If you're watching this, it's likely you know that video games have been a huge part of my life. Because I host TV content on video games for a living, I've spent a large part of my adulthood reviewing and critiquing them, deciding whether they're good or bad, and whether people should buy them or not. Like anything a person can call work, this starts to mask the reasons why I chose to do it in the first place. I wanted to be in the gaming industry, surprise, because I'm passionate about video games. Because I believed in the things about games that are important and unique to the individual, and which are not always ideas that you can capture in a game review. This means that there are many games out there that people love, not necessarily because they have great reviews, but because they mean something to the person playing them. In celebration of this love of games, I've decided to share 5 games that shaped my passion for the industry. And I've asked 3 of my friends, who happen to be my favorite gamers, Joe Sugg, Ollie White, and Wizite, to do exactly the same thing. If you'd like to get involved, make your own video, share it in the comments below. I'd love to see them. Remember to nominate your friends as well, who also love games, regardless of platform, genre, or skill. It's about the love of gaming, remember? So don't worry about that stuff. Let's start a movement to get back to why, above ratings or reviews, video games came to be a big part of our lives. For some bizarre reason, as a teenager, I really got into war. I read books about war, I fantasized about what it must be like joining the SAS, and most importantly, I wanted to find realistic games about modern warfare. When I first played Rainbow Six, I was hooked. It was the first ultra-realistic SWAT game and was all about valuing life instead of just running and gunning. Instead, it was hiding, taking your time, and if your team and the hostages were saved, you won. It was awesome. The adrenaline of perfectly executing a siege, clinically wiping out the enemies, and saving as many lives as possible was absolutely intoxicating. It was as close to the real thing as I could get, especially at 16, and was the first time I really started imagining how realistic games were gonna get. Shooters had never before rocked my imagination the way that Half-Life did. From that opening scene on the train, I was so invested in the story and the world that Half-Life was set in. I loved the plot twists and the enemies, but the thing I loved the most was the way that Valve just got the atmosphere right. The way a movie does. It was just like that. And that makes a huge difference. It makes you feel like you were there. I think a lot of games these days try for that ultra realism, that look, but they miss that magic ingredient that makes something as bland as an elevator shaft feel like a real place. Like it's got personality and character. It's really hard to explain. It was so good. I've always liked playing games with friends, but the game that really made an impact on me when playing against my friends was Super Street Fighter 2. I fell so in love with the colors and the crazy characters and everything that Capcom threw at us that I even spent time drawing them out as a kid. We played nearly every single day and usually had the whole neighborhood come around for tournaments and many afternoons around my Sega Mega Drive. We even bought those arcade sticks that you plug into the console. Throughout my final year at high school, I was supposed to be studying for exams, but instead, I was playing through the original Metal Gear Solid. Grant you dumbass. This is where I fell in love with stealth games. I felt like an absolute badass, and for some reason I love the micromanagement of my resources like bullets and health. I suppose that's why I felt like a badass in the first place, sneaking by, succeeding on the skin of my teeth, and by some micro resource management. It was also a pretty cool puzzle game. Working out how to sneak about without getting caught was so cool. There was a rad VR training level as well that could have been a game on its own. In fact, that could be a really epic mobile game. Guys, smash that like button if you want to see Konami make that, because that would be pretty sweet. I fell so in love with Metal Gear Solid, it was like reading a book that you couldn't put down. And for me, right in the middle of final exams. Fail grant. Age of Empires 2 was the best. I always liked history, but nothing in history class ever felt as cool as the missions in AoE. I felt like I was there, partaking in a historical decision. It was dumb. I know, but I played for hours a day, trying new builds and grinding at the campaign, which I admittedly wasn't very good at. We spent a lot of weekends landing the game as well at friends' houses, working out diplomatic statuses between friends and by glancing at them from across the table and then eventually backstabbing them. You know, that's what friends are for. Right, it's your turn to share your own For the Love of Games challenge video and drop a link in the comments below. Don't be shy, there's no right or wrong answer. It's about the games that you fell in love with, and you can't really choose who you fall in love with, right? Remember to check out the videos by Joe, Ollie, and Wizite. I put some links in the description, and I'm so excited to see what they have to share. And as always, remember, don't do drugs, stay in school, and high five a stranger. Adios.